A very good afternoon to you, our viewers. Thank you for staying tuned on Race TV, and also welcome back from the lunch hour. I am Jackie Lingla, ready to give you what is happening currently in the country and also outside the nation. Apparently, right now, bus parks are crowded with passengers who are trying to travel back home. MPs are questioning the government to actually revise some measures before being enforced. By considering the social well-being of the public. I'll be giving you more details of that story. Good afternoon. Members of the Parliament of Uganda have asked the government to desist from being selfish, but also consider Ugandans before enforcing some guidelines. They say that parents have lost a lot of money in paying for school fees, yet they are not benefiting out of it.
So the actual number that we talk of, 40,000 or so, as patients may not be the true number. So we need to test whoever wants to test. And most importantly, corona being an imported disease, we need to have strong controls at the points of entry. At the border, previously, we used to have truck drivers being tested before they get into the country. Today, that wasn't happening. And actually, that could be the reason as to why we are seeing the surge we see today.
Children went back to school on Saturday, and on Monday, the school was closed. All those huge amount of money were just ducked in there. So now, if it comes to transport, I really feel the government should be more serious and more careful. Right now, the transport fares from Kampala to May District Amoro, they are charging 200,000 per student. And the parents who are coming from May District are crying like nothing. And more so, if you look at the SOPs that the Ministry of Health is advocating for in the bus park, children are being packed, they are being loaded, and yet they are paying extremely high.
Now, in regards to the new COVID-19 preventive measures that were put in place to control the spread of COVID-19 this week, Pastor Robert Kayanja, the lead pastor of Rubaga Miracle Center Cathedral, has urged all Ugandans to embrace the partial lockdown because it's good for preserving our health. He made the remarks while at the Parliament of Uganda yesterday.
Last time, the schools did not do well. They did not treat the students and the parents very well. They asked them for more money. Now I've paid money, I have not utilized it. Either you refund it, or when I come, I'll have to use it. So I think that's what needs to be done. Missing school, I remember during the Rural War, the National Liberation War, Katonga was cut off. Western Uganda was completely cut off. Students did not sit exams. Not only even in Uganda, because the war was going on in Uganda, even in part of Uganda, people never sat exams. Once you are lying, you can always be back. Once you are sick and you are dead, there's nothing left. So COVID weakens the body. One of the things people must understand. So even if you recover, you will be weaker. You will be weaker. So that's why the best way to do it is stay away from COVID and let it pass, and then we can reach.
Now, as always, as we try to make sure that we are secure from the COVID-19, still our health has to be checked, where you have to also be mindful of the foods that you consume in order to maintain your brain to remain active. So today in the health tips, we bring you foods that will boost your brain health.
Eating certain foods can help preserve brain function. There's mounting scientific evidence that shows sticking to a method called the MIND diet can make a difference in your risk of cognitive decline and dementia, including Alzheimer's disease.
MIND stands for Mediterranean Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay.
Mayo Clinic wellness dietitian Angie Murad says the MIND diet is a combination of 2 other healthy diets and includes a variety of brain-friendly foods.
What it emphasizes are leafy greens, greens, berries, nuts, specifically ones that are high in omega-3s, fish, and also including an additional vegetable as well as the leafy greens.
The benefits of the MIND method go beyond just the mind.
Anyone can really benefit to it because it's more of a plant-based diet, which also helps reduce weight if that's something that you're struggling with.
Foods to avoid or limit include butter, cheese, red meat, and
Now, for international news, in East African bloc, Burundi yesterday held an event in Gitega, its political capital, to remember its former leader, its former leader, that is Pierre Nkurunziza, who had his sudden death just last June, and of course it forced the country into a quick transition. Reigning President Evariste Ndayishimiye said Nkurunziza was a patriot, and his widow Denise also spoke at the ceremony attended by high-profile delegation from Tanzania and Uganda.
Burundi on Tuesday held an event to remember its former leader Pierre Nkurunziza, whose sudden death last June forced the country into a quick transition. Reigning President Evariste Ndayishimiye said Nkurunziza was a patriot. His widow Denise also spoke at the ceremony attended by high-profile delegations from Tanzania and Uganda. Nkurunziza was in power for 15 years. His Excellency Pierre Nkurunziza was a courageous person. He loved to work and inspire others, and he understood that whoever wants to succeed must work hard. He was the model of a good worker who starts work very early and saves time to go and inspire others at work. But Nkurunziza's controversial bid for a third term in 2015 plunged the Central African country into a political and security crisis it is still recovering from.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has started at the phased return of residents who fled to the Goma in the aftermath of the volcanic eruption that destroyed thousands of homes and threatened to overrun the city. However, less than a week after the initial eruption on the May 22nd, some 400,000 people scrambled to leave when the government warned an underground tremor could cause a new eruption or trigger the release of the toxic gases.
Congolese authorities have been helping people displaced by last month's volcanic eruption to return home to Goma, but not everyone is keen to board the buses provided by the provincial government. This woman says she has nothing to go back to. They're asking us to go back. I don't have anywhere to go back to. I wonder where I should go back to with the children. I don't have an answer. I have 9 children. Some of them are sick. My house was destroyed by the fire. I don't know what to do anymore. They're going to take us like animals in vehicles without telling us where they're really taking us. Whoever has a place to go, go there. My husband was swept away by this volcano. Where do they want me to go? Francine had found shelter in a school in the neighboring city of Sake. Those who do not want to return are displaced people whose houses were burned or fell down following the earthquake. The provincial government has planned for them to stay for a while until the governor can make the necessary arrangements. Many of those who chose to return are going to have to start from scratch. No houses and no livelihoods.
Now, an envoy from West Africa's regional bloc arrived in Mali yesterday, a day after Colonel Asmin Goita pledged to swiftly return the country to civilian rule after leading his second coup in 9 months. Goita was sworn in on Monday as the country's president, 2 weeks after he removed the transitional president Ba Ndou, attracting suspension and condemnation by the African Union.
Former Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan on Tuesday held a meeting with the head of Mali's junta, Colonel Assimi Goïta, in Bamako in a desperate attempt to save the country's fragile transition. Jonathan is ECOWAS's envoy for Mali. Goïta was sworn in on Monday as the country's president, 2 weeks after he removed transitional leader Bandao, attracting condemnation from the African Union. As I said, and it was reiterated by the mediators, that the commitment of ECOWAS has accompanied the transition process so that elections are held according to the schedule that has already been established by the Malian authorities. Therefore, our role will be to support this process. So there was already the first step that was mentioned at the Accra summit, namely the appointment of a civilian prime minister. That happened yesterday, and I think it's a positive point. The trip was Jonathan's second in 2 weeks. Goïta has vowed to stick to the old transition schedule, which prescribes elections for next February. Now it is important, and that too was a point of the Accra summit, that the government be inclusive. So we're actually going to talk about that with the Prime Minister. The Sahel country's second coup in 9 months threatens to upset a return to civilian rule. Activists have warned against the army's ambitions to dominate power.
Now, former Tunisian presidential finalist Nabil Karoui was hospitalized after going on a hunger strike. The former 2019 presidential finalist in Tunisia, that is Nabil, was hospitalized 3 days after he began a hunger strike to protest against his continued pre-trial detention.
Nabil Karoui, head of the Liberal Kalb Tunis party and member of the government coalition that came second in Tunisia's 2019 presidential election, was admitted for 3 days in hospital after a hunger strike, as per judicial source Tuesday. The strike, undergone by the founder of Tunisia's main private channel Nesma TV, was in protest of his continued detention on remand since the maximum 6-month pre-trial detention period beyond the legal deadline in Tunisia, which expired on May 5th and can only be extended by a judge's decision. Prosecuted in 2017 in a money laundering and tax fraud case, the former presidential candidate was arrested in 2019 and spent more than a month in prison in the middle of the electoral campaign. Released, he was arrested again last December and has been in detention ever since. Nabil Karoui is currently undergoing tests after being admitted on Monday evening.
Now, as African nations try to control corruption, especially in public organizations, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa put his health minister, Zweli Mkhize, on special leave on Tuesday after allegations that his department illegally awarded COVID-19 related contracts to a communications company controlled by his former associates.
South Africa's health minister was placed on special leave on Tuesday amid allegations of corruption linked to COVID-19 related contracts. Zweli Mkhize's department is accused of irregularly awarding the contracts to a communications company controlled by his former associates. It's the latest in a series of corruption allegations linked to coronavirus-related tenders that have caused public outrage. President Cyril Ramaphosa has vowed that corruption during the pandemic will be dealt with harshly. Ramaphosa's office said special leave would allow the minister to attend to allegations and investigations concerning the contracts. Before that statement, Mkhize apologised for the public rage over the allegations. South Africa's Minister of Tourism, Mameloko Kubayi-Gubane, will serve as acting Minister of Health until further notice.
Now, that is exactly what we have for you in the news updates within the country and also elsewhere in the world. And right now, we'll be ushered into sports. And Now, in the field of sports, apparently those who are waiting on for the future competitions of the Euro 2021, there are only 2 days for the Euro 2021 competitions to actually begin. Today, fixtures are out, and this is how the games are going to be played, as our technical person shows you on the screen right there. Yeah, that is the Euro 2021 game fixtures. Apparently, it will begin on the 11th of June 2021, where Turkey will be facing Italy in Rome, and of course Wales will be facing Switzerland on the 12th in Baku, and then Turkey will be facing Wales on the 16th in still Baku. As you go on, you'll be seeing other games right there. On the 16th, Finland will be versing Russia in St. Petersburg, and then also Russia will be versing Denmark right there in Copenhagen on the 21st. And still there are so many games right there as you're seeing on your screen. You should be updated on the 17th of June 2021. Netherlands will be versing Australia, and also that will be in Amsterdam. And then on the 21st, Macedonia will be versing Netherlands. And of course, on the 22nd of June 2021, Czech Republic will be versing England in London. England will be versing Scotland on the 18th in London. And as you're seeing right there, there's so many games. On the 23rd, as we are closing down the month, we have Spain. On the 19th, we have Spain versing Poland in Seville, and also Sweden versing Poland in Strasbourg. That is on the 23rd of June 2021. And still there are more games right there as you see. We will not go further than that. So those of you who are waiting on the games, that is what we have for you in the field of sports. I will not go further than that. Have a very good afternoon. I'm Jackie Lingla. Stay blessed.